Hello, this is James Himm Mitchell, and I'm here with our weekly Lenormand and Tarot Tag-Team reading. This week, I'm going to be using the Unforgettable Lenormand by Teri Smith over at Divine Walks, and I will provide a link to both her video, which showcases all the cards, as well as a link to her website. So if you find the cards that show up in the reading of interest, you might want to check that out further. And so, as you know, in these tag team readings, I do a line of 3, and I've taken the liberty of shuffling, cutting, and fanning out the cards and choosing the 3 for the reading for the week. And we start things off by going to the first card here in the middle. This is the card that for me represents the focus or the central issue of the week. So this card is the Bouquet. And the Bouquet for me is a card that represents things like gifts, a surprise, an invitation. This is a week of appreciation possibly, because this card represents appreciation for me. It also represents something that is wonderful, something that is pleasant, something that is considered beautiful. So those are all aspects of the Bouquet for me. Now, Lenormand is a tool or an oracle, that can represent something literal. So here, with the roses, it could actually be flowers of some kind. Sometimes for me, and I'm seeing this because I've just taken my medication before doing the video, is that for me the bouquet can sometimes represent allergies of some kind. And so I just took my allergy medication. So this is again a way of creating meaning for the cards, as well as some sort of relevance for you wherever you're at in your stage of life. And so for me, the relevance here would be something having to do with allergies, because I see this as like pollen. So again, that's just one way to make meaning and make it relevant to where you might be at. So again, this card is about gifts, surprises, some form of appreciation, an invitation, something that's considered pleasant, wonderful, beautiful, and for some of us, you know, some reference to maybe allergies or allergic reactions. So we look to the cards on each side of the bouquet to kind of create more meanings for the experiences that we may have this week. So the card on the left is the Scythe, and the card on the right is the Dog. Okay, so now Lenormand is best read in pairs and triplets. So we actually have 3 pairs that we could look at. We have the pair of the Scythe and the Bouquet. We have the pair of the Bouquet and the Dog. And then we have the final pair of the Scythe and the Dog. And then we could make meaning with the line of cards going from left to right. So first we have the Scythe here on the left. So the Scythe is a challenging card, and it can represent things like something being cut, something being removed. It can represent something that is shocking, something that is sudden, something that requires a fast response or a swift course of action. It can also represent things like a break, a severance, something being removed or eliminated, things of that nature. So our first pair here being the Scythe and the Bouquet, if we look at them, we could look at this as a sudden gift or surprise, or a sudden invitation. Going with what I said about my allergies, this could be like a sudden allergic reaction. Keeping with the idea that the Lenormand can represent something literal, and I already touched on flowers, one of the things about in terms of a gift or a surprise could actually be a gift of flowers, you know, and it would be like fresh cut flowers or cut flowers because of the Scythe representing something being cut. I also see this as a possibility of sometimes a Scythe can represent surgery, so in terms of like being cut, but then here with the bouquet and something being made beautiful, it could be like some sort of surgery and beauty together. Could be like some sort of plastic surgery or something being done to alter one's appearance in order to make your appearance more beautiful. So it could be something along those lines. But for me, I'm going to see my first reaction is like a gift or a surprise or an invitation that is sudden. It comes without warning. So something like that. The next pair here, we have the bouquet and the dog. The dog here on this side can represent something like a friend, a partner, a companion. It could represent things like loyalty, help, support. And it could also represent trust or being trustworthy. So looking at the pair of the bouquet and the dog, going with my allergic reaction, it could be like a sudden allergic reaction to a pet or pet hair or pet dander, something of that nature. It could be a gift or a surprise or an invitation from a friend. Going with what I said about the bouquet being appreciation, it could be appreciation for a friend, appreciation for a friend's help or support. It could be that we understand or appreciate the beauty of a friendship, or that we actually, if we go with the idea of like the surgery to help us become more beautiful, or alter our appearance in some way that makes us more beautiful or more attractive, then the bouquet and the dog could be like a beauty consultant, because I sometimes see the dog as a consultant. Professionally speaking, the dog can represent anybody who's in a position that gives advice, help, support. So I look at those as like advisors or consultants of some nature. So it could be like, working with a beauty consultant in that regard too. So I'm seeing that. Then, like I said, the last pair we have, if we have the scythe and the dog, we take that up and we put these cards together like so, then this becomes a pair. And it could be going with the idea of something being painful here with the scythe. It could be like the pains of a particular friendship. It could be like we may have to sever a friendship. It could be like we experience a disconnection with a friend. Or like I said earlier, if the pet is causing an allergic reaction, then it could be like the removal of the pet, because sometimes the scythe can represent something that's being removed. So having said that, I find a very interesting dichotomy here with the scythe and the bouquet, because one can represent pain and then one can represent beauty. So here we have on one side, the pains of something, and then on the other side of it, we can see the beauty of it. So we may be asked this week to consider the very same thing that we find painful. What can we find beautiful about it? So one of the things here for me is, in terms of the scythe, I just recovered this morning actually from a 2-day migraine, which was very painful. So that would be the scythe for me. But having said that, I woke up this morning and the migraine was gone, so it helps me appreciate more so the beauty of being pain-free. So sometimes it takes a painful situation to help us appreciate the beauty of it once we get to the other side of it. So I'm finding that. So what painful experience have you happened? Because now, if you look at this as maybe like a past, present, future kind of thing, then this would be, for me, the migraine was in the past, and here I am in the present, appreciating the beauty of being pain-free. So what past pain or hurt or injury might we have experienced that now that we're on the other side of it, we can appreciate it more because we maybe have gained something from it, we appreciate where we're at more. If sometimes it may be like if we didn't experience that, we wouldn't be here over on this side of it. So what could we do to maybe look at a past hurt or pain in a different way that makes us appreciate it more? So I'm seeing that. So then what we can do here is we can read the line from left to right in a forward narration. So I would see this possibly as a sudden or shocking gift, surprise, or invitation from a friend. So that could be one way of reading that. The next thing we can do is go to the playing cards of the cards here and look for any hidden dynamics possibly. Now normally I do a hidden dynamics with a line of 5, but here we could still do it with the line of 3. So here we have the Jack of Diamonds with the scythe, we have the Queen of Spades with the bouquet, and we have the 10 of hearts with the dog. So I would look to this Jack of Diamonds being valued at 11. So I would look for the 11th card in the deck to help us possibly create more meaning. And the 11th card in the deck is the Whip. And so now the Whip is a card that represents things like conflict and strife. It can represent something that's repetitive. It can represent something that we may be beating ourselves up about, because sometimes this card is about beating oneself up or torturing oneself in some way, because it's a card of punishment. So how are we punishing ourselves? Or maybe how are we punishing someone else? So the other thing about the Whip card for me, in a positive sense, this could be trying to work things out or trying to sort something out. So again, this card can represent a conflict, a strife, some sort of fight. If it's something of a communicative nature, then this card would be about either an argument or a debate of some kind, some sort of heated words being exchanged. It can also represent something repetitive in nature, like we go through it again and again and again. So I'm seeing that. Now on the other side of this, because we're still keeping in mind that this would give us some more information in terms of the central card being the bouquet. So here on the side with the dog rather, we have the 10 of hearts, like I said before, and the 10th card in the deck actually is the scythe. So now we have the scythe here on this side, and so these would be the hidden dynamics. So again, the scythe is a card that represents some sort of pain, hurt, injury, a wound, things of that nature. So it could be like an argument that is very painful, heated words being exchanged that cause some kind of pain. It could be like, a repetitive cycle that comes to an end, or, we cut it off, we sever it, something like that. So I'm seeing that with that. So it could be like, again, a painful argument, a conflict leading to a severing, or a sudden fight or conflict, something that we just didn't see coming. It just, kind of just blew up. It kind of just escalated. So seeing that. So those would be the hidden dynamics. The other thing we can do with that, if we switch these around, is that we can take all the pips and add them all up together. So again, the Jack of Diamonds is 11, so we would take 11, and then the Queen is 12, and then the 10, and that would bring us to a total of 33. The 33rd card in the deck is the Key. So now whenever the Key is a card in the reading, the Key represents something certain. It's like a yes with an exclamation mark. It represents an answer or solution. It represents a discovery. It represents a breakthrough. It represents some kind of revelation. I love the Key card. So it could represent, in terms of what we've been talking about, it could be a surprising discovery, a sudden revelation, an aha moment that provides an answer or solution to whatever the experience is. It could be like, if we go with the idea of getting help and support from a friend with the dog, it could be just the thing that we needed, and we get it at the moment we need it the most. So I'm seeing that. So that's the Key. The final thing we can do with this reading is to look at the numbers on the cards and to see what the final advice in terms of the essence of the reading is. Because I always say this, the Lenormand deck composes of 3 features. It has the central image, it has the playing card, and then it has the number that it's assigned. So adding the numbers across, we have 10 for the scythe, we have 9 for the bouquet, and we have 18 for the dog. And that brings us to 37. So the 37th, I was about to say 37th card. Since the number is over 36, because there's only 36 cards in the deck, we're going to take the 3 and the 7, add them together, and then we have 10. So 10th card here is, again, the scythe. So it's very interesting that the scythe showed up in 3 different ways. It showed up in the line itself, it showed up as the hidden dynamic, and now it's showing up as the final essence. So again, the scythe is about something sudden, something shocking, something that may call us to kind of create a sense of a severance or a disconnection or a break of some kind. Things of that nature. So, but it's very interesting that it would show up 3 different ways. It's like the card is like screaming for attention. It wants to be seen. It wants to be noticed. So having said that, these are the cards again. The scythe represents something sudden, shocking. It could represent some sort of hurt, pain, something that leads to a break, a severance of some kind, a disconnection. The bouquet represents a gift, an invitation, a surprise, something attractive, something appealing, some form of appreciation. And then the dog can represent a friend, a partner, a companion. It could represent help, support. It could represent some sort of guidance, something that we can either find trusting or trustworthy. And so this just jumped out at me here. One of the other things with the scythe and the dog could represent a break in trust, or a disconnection because some sort of trust issue comes up. So I'm seeing that. So that may be another thing that we may be experiencing. It may be a lack of trust with a friend or a companion, or some sort of advisor or guide or something of that nature. So I'm seeing that again too. So these are the cards for the week. I am James Himm Mitchell, and I look forward to sharing this space here again with you in our next part, which would be Tarot's version of this reading. Like, what does Tarot have to say about all of this? So that will be in part 2, so stay tuned.